Thank you, Mr Deputy President. I rise to speak on behalf of the opposition on the Crime Sentencing Procedure Amendment Bill, and I indicate at the outset that we will be supporting this bill. As has been indicated, this bill addresses an existing gap in the sentencing law. It allows an offender who was previously mentally unfit to be tried, but who subsequently becomes fit for trial, to make plea offers as soon as practicable after having been declared fit and receive appropriate sentence reductions. This bill is essentially about procedural fairness and ensuring that a person who is mentally unwell at the time of arrest is not treated differently to others in the sentencing process. It allows all offenders to receive appropriate sentence reductions if they make plea offers in reasonable time. It recognises that this time may be different for an offender who is declared unfit for trial at the time at which plea offers would normally be made. This bill reminds us of the importance to the justice system of the forensic mental health services operated by Justice Health. If a person is in custody and becomes mentally fit to plead, this is only because of the medical care which has been delivered by Justice Health. And this is where this bill highlights the problems which Justice Health is facing. In January this year, because they felt they had no other choice, a number of the psychiatrists employed by New South Wales Health resigned. This included those highly skilled and specialist forensic psychiatrists employed by Justice Health. Without their specialised care for inmates, this bill and its provisions are likely to be otiose. No or inadequate care means no recovery, means no inmate regains the ability to plead, means this bill and its sensible provisions will remain unused. As Deputy Chief Magistrate Sharon Freund told the Downing Centre in January this year, shortly after the resignations of psychiatrists began, quote, "We are talking about acutely unwell people not getting the physical and mental help they need," end quote. Prison advocate Renee McNabb has described her personal experience. Jailed at Silverwater Correctional Centre, she expected to be able to continue the medication she had been prescribed, which helped her manage her bipolar condition. However, because of our critical shortage of psychiatrists in the Justice Health system, she was stripped of her daily medication until she could get an appointment with Justice Health. This appointment took 1 month, and while she was waiting, she suffered a manic episode and became suicidal. This is but one example of what happens when we don't have enough psychiatrists working in our public health and our justice system. Disappointingly, the government brings us this bill which makes sensible changes to our sentencing procedures, but changes which can only work if we have an adequate forensic psychiatric workforce. The provisions of the bill are only triggered if a person who is mentally unfit at the time of arrest becomes fit enough to plead. This doesn't happen by accident or by the effluxion of time. It only happens when adequate psychiatric care is provided. And adequate psychiatric care requires a sufficient psychiatric workforce. And what is this government doing about achieving this? What have they been doing since the mass resignations in January? Resigned forensic psychiatrist Dr. Ian Corbell has expressed his opinion clearly. In January, he observed that it would be indefensible if forensic patients were left to languish without that vital psychiatric care while the state government delayed finding a solution to the crisis and had, quote, abrogated responsibility to the Industrial Relations Commission, where in September this dispute still languishes. This is a bill drafted with Tantalus, not mentally ill prisoners in mind. Because like Tantalus, when inmates reach for that healing balm of psychiatric care, it will constantly slip out of their reach. This legislation is sadly indicative of the performative legislation in which this government specialises. It may sound good, but because of their inaction in addressing basic issues, such as adequate provision for the psychiatrists in our public health system, no beneficial effects are likely to be delivered.